Spring, 1937. The winds crossing northeastern Syria carried more than sand that morning. Near the dry plains of the Khabur River basin, a massive mound rose from the desert. Locals called it Tel Brak. British archaeologist Max Mallowan stood atop the mound. At first glance, it looked lifeless. Just another rise of dust beneath a white desert sky. But the workers had stopped digging. No one was supposed to find human skulls there. Silence spread quickly across the trench. Picks lowered. Boots shifted against gravel. A Syrian laborer had uncovered something strange beneath the compacted earth. Fragments of smashed human remains mixed with shattered pottery and burned mud brick. And the deeper they dug, the stranger it became. Step closer in your imagination. Heat vibrates above the ground. Beneath your feet lies a city older than most civilizations recorded in history. A forgotten urban center that may have rivaled the great cities of ancient Sumer. At the time, historians believed civilization began in southern Mesopotamia. Cities like Uruk were seen as the birthplace of urban life. The north?
Sparse village.
Minor settlements. Nothing more. Tel Brak threatened that entire narrative. The mound rose nearly 40 meters above the surrounding plain and stretched across hundreds of acres. Ancient pottery littered the surface. Fragments of obsidian glinted beneath sunlight. Using stratigraphic excavation, Mallowan's team removed soil layer by layer. Buildings of sun-dried mud brick emerged from the earth. Seal impressions surfaced, markers of organized administration. Obsidian tools imported from Anatolia, hundreds of kilometers away. Evidence of trade networks far older than expected. Then came the temple. Buried deep within the mound, archaeologists uncovered the Eye Temple, named after thousands of tiny alabaster figurines with exaggerated eyes, staring endlessly forward. Some no larger than a human thumb. Others appeared fused together, almost melted into abstract forms. No inscription explained them. No text revealed who worshipped there. Yet thousands had been placed inside the structure over generations. Rows of blank eyes emerging from darkness. Silent faces buried for over 6,000 years. The contradiction was impossible to ignore. How could a city this massive exist in northern Mesopotamia so early? Carbon dating and ceramic analysis placed Tel Brak around 4,500 BCE. Possibly older than southern Sumerian cities credited with inventing urban civilization. That was not supposed to happen. For decades, theory said civilization rippled outward from the south. But Tel Brak suggested urban life emerged independently. Not once, but twice. Broad streets, administrative buildings, workshops at scale. The city covered more than 130 hectares at its peak. Beneath the dust, mass deposits of bones still wait, secrets sealed for over 6,000 years. The deeper archaeologists dug into Tel Brak, the less the ancient world made sense. By the mid-20th century, excavation teams returned to the Syrian site expecting to confirm what historians already believed, that northern Mesopotamia had merely copied the urban revolution of the south. But layer after layer contradicted that assumption. The city was too old, too large, too organized, and perhaps most unsettling of all, it appeared to have grown without a king. Morning light cut across the excavation trenches as researchers exposed entire neighborhoods buried beneath meters of hardened soil. Mud brick walls emerged in geometric patterns. Storage rooms lined narrow streets. Kilns and workshops suggested industrial production on a surprising scale. This was not the chaotic sprawl of a farming settlement. It was planned. You begin to notice something unusual immediately. Where were the palaces? In cities like Ur or Lagash, rulers announced themselves through monumental architecture. Massive temples, royal tombs, inscriptions praising kings chosen by gods. But Tel Brak revealed something different. For centuries during its earliest growth phase, the city showed little evidence of centralized monarchy. Instead, Archaeologists found sprawling residential districts and decentralized administrative zones spread across the settlement. It looked almost organic, as though urban civilization emerged gradually from trade and labor, rather than from the commands of a single ruler. That possibility shocked historians. Because if Tel Brak urbanized independently, civilization was not a single invention born in Sumer. It may have been a process unfolding simultaneously across multiple regions of Mesopotamia. The implications reached far beyond Syria. It challenged one of archaeology's most foundational narratives. Then came the obsidian. Inside workshops and storage buildings, archaeologists uncovered volcanic glass imported from eastern Anatolia. Chemical analysis confirmed long-distance exchange networks across mountains, deserts, and river valleys. This city was connected to an enormous trade world. Copper arrived from distant highlands. Timber traveled from northern forests. Precious stones appeared beside locally made ceramics. Even before formal empires, Tel Brak had become a commercial hub linking cultures across the Near East. But prosperity brought danger. In outer settlement areas, excavation teams uncovered evidence of rapid expansion. Small farming communities surrounding the central mound had fused into a single massive urban landscape. Population density increased dramatically around 3900 to 3600 BCE. And then violence appeared, again. Near one excavation sector, archaeologists discovered a horrifying deposit now known as a death pit. Human skeletons lay piled together without ceremonial burial. Many bones showed signs of sudden trauma. Several skulls had crushing injuries. Not a plague, not ritual sacrifice. Battle. You imagine the scene 6,000 years earlier. Crowds moving through dusty streets, smoke rising above mud brick rooftops. Panic spreading as conflict erupts somewhere near the city edge. Something had gone wrong inside one of humanity's first urban experiments. Researchers began reconsidering the origins of organized warfare itself. Cities created wealth. Wealth created competition. Competition created violence. Tel Brak seemed to preserve that transformation in brutal detail. And still, the mysteries deepened. One structure contained thousands of seal impressions used to mark goods and containers. Tiny carved images showed animals, geometric symbols, and human figures engaged in mysterious activities. Administration was already becoming sophisticated. Bureaucracy existed here centuries before historians expected. People were tracking resources, recording ownership, controlling storage and trade. Civilization was accelerating. For nearly a century, Tel Brak has forced archaeologists into an uncomfortable position. The site refuses to fit neatly into history. Every new excavation answers one question while creating three more. How did such a sophisticated city emerge so early in northern Mesopotamia? Tel Brak was never supposed to exist like this at all. By the early 2000s, Cambridge and Syrian teams mapped enormous sections of the site. Using satellite imagery, surface surveys, and deep trench excavation. What they found challenged decades of accepted theory. The traditional model seemed simple enough. Southern Mesopotamia, cities like Uruk, developed agriculture and bureaucracy first. Urban life then spread northward over time. But Tel Brak complicated everything. The city was already densely populated before southern influence appeared. Some scholars proposed northern Mesopotamia followed its own developmental path. Independently evolving organization through trade and craft specialization. Civilization had multiple birthplaces, not one. Human beings naturally prefer clean beginnings. One origin, one first city, one cradle of civilization. But archaeology rarely behaves so neatly. The earth preserves fragments, not perfect stories. And Tel Brak is made entirely of fragments. Around 3900 BCE, the city underwent explosive expansion. Suburban settlements spread rapidly around the central mound. A vast low-density urban landscape unlike anything seen before. But why did people gather there so quickly? Some researchers argued commerce drove the growth. Tel Brak sat between Anatolia, the Levant, and southern Mesopotamia. Traders moved obsidian, copper, and textiles through its markets. It became a powerful economic crossroads. Others believed ideology played a larger role. The mysterious Eye Temple became central to that argument. Thousands of eye idols had been deliberately buried there. Their oversized eyes seemed almost hypnotic. Some saw worshippers eternally watching the gods. Others believed they represented the deities themselves.
No consensus emerged.
The temple was repeatedly destroyed and rebuilt over generations. Fire damage appeared in certain levels. Offerings changed over time, yet written explanations remained absent. Tel Brak was civilization without a clear voice. Some scholars examining skeletons found evidence of severe social stress, crowded conditions, disease transmission, organized violence. The city may have grown too fast. Narrow alleys and packed housing hinted at urban congestion. Inequality, violence, overpopulation, resource pressure. Even 6,000 years ago, humans faced the costs of urban life. Climate instability may also have contributed to its fragmentation. Northern Mesopotamia depended on rainfall, not irrigation. Why did southern cities dominate memory while Tel Brak faded? Vast portions of the mound remain unexcavated. Hidden archives may still wait below. The wind still moves across Tel Brak exactly as it did 6,000 years ago. It carries dust over broken mud brick walls, across abandoned trenches, and through ruins that once belonged to one of humanity's earliest cities. From a distance, the mound appears quiet again, empty, almost forgotten. But beneath the surface, the questions remain alive. And perhaps the greatest mystery of Tel Brak is not how it was built. It is why civilization emerged there at all. For generations, historians searched for a single origin point of urban life. One decisive moment when humanity crossed the threshold from scattered villages into organized cities. Ancient Mesopotamia became known as the cradle of civilization, and southern Sumer occupied the center of that story. But Tel Brak refuses to stay at the edges. The city stands hundreds of kilometers north of the great Sumerian centers. Yet evidence suggests it developed urban characteristics astonishingly early. Monumental buildings, bureaucracy, trade systems, social hierarchy, violence, religion, dense population, all appearing at nearly the same moment humans elsewhere were still living in small farming communities. It forces you to confront an uncomfortable thought. What if civilization was not a miracle that happened once? What if it was inevitable? That theory has gained quiet support among some archaeologists. Under the right environmental and economic conditions, human societies may naturally evolve toward urban complexity. Different groups, different regions, different timelines, yet all moving toward cities in parallel. If true, then Tel Brak was not an exception. It was one of many experiments, most simply vanished. And that possibility changes the scale of what may still be missing from history. Satellite archaeology across the Middle East has already identified countless buried mounds. Scattered across Iraq, Syria, and Turkey, many remain unexplored. Some are barely documented. Others have been damaged by agriculture, construction, or war before proper excavation could even begin. You begin to realize how incomplete the historical record truly is. Entire civilizations may still sleep beneath the soil. Unknown cities, unknown rulers, unknown languages. Tel Brak may only be the beginning. Nowhere is that uncertainty more visible than in the unanswered riddles still buried beneath the mound itself. Archaeologists continue debating the city's earliest political structure. Was there truly no centralized monarchy during its formative stages? Or have royal districts simply not yet been uncovered? Others focus on the city's violence. The skeletal deposits discovered near outer settlements remain controversial. Were they victims of warfare, civil unrest, ritualized killing, rapid burial during urban crisis? The evidence points toward conflict, but certainty remains elusive. And then there are the eyes. thousands of them. Tiny alabaster figurines with exaggerated staring faces continue haunting researchers decades after their discovery. Their purpose remains uncertain despite years of study. Some appear stylized beyond human proportions. Others look almost alien. Smooth bodies, enormous eyes, featureless forms. Not supernatural, but deeply unsettling. You imagine entering the eye temple thousands of years ago. Oil lamps flicker against mud brick walls. Hundreds of pale figurines stare silently from shadowed alcoves. Priests move through incense smoke, speaking words now lost forever. No surviving text explains what happened there, and perhaps none ever will. If one forgotten city could challenge everything we knew about civilization, how many others are still hidden beneath the deserts of the ancient world?